Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. It's Nielsen and Hustler with you right here on my Twitter account at NielsenTSN at 1260. As always, The Lock Shop brought to you by our friends at Coolbet. Another NFL season literally just around the corner, one sleep away. Sign up for an account, use the bonus code LOCKSHOP, all one word, 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Huss, happy game week, buddy.
Oh, dude, right back at you. This is... I think I was saying yesterday on the Coolbet NFL preview show, this might be, it's certainly right up there with my favorite weeks of the sporting calendar. I mean, for those of us north of the border that love football, both 3 down and 4 down, we come off the amazing Labor Day weekend, which sort of signifies the end of summer. Back in the day, we hated this time of year because it meant we're back to school. Now we love it because we're live on fantasy football. We're betting NFL. And, of course, we're getting together here in the Peg this weekend. You'll be calling the Rider-Bomber rematch in the Banjo Bowl. And I know we'll mention this again later on in the show. But if you are in Winnipeg and you're a fan of the show, Winnipeg Sports Talk, Dusty's work on TSN, come and hang out with us. We're going to bang out a live lock shop for week 1 of the NFL on Friday night at Boston Pizza City Place in downtown Winnipeg. For folks that, you know, Winnipeg, it's where we did the Jets pregame shows all those years. So really looking forward to getting back there, meeting some of you that interact with us on the program. Have a couple cold ones, maybe a pizza, some wings, and get ready for both the Banjo Bowl and 11 to 12 hours of NFL action for week number 1. This is what it's all about, dude. We've been waiting all summer for this week.
I'm very excited for all of it. And look, if you're watching or listening in Edmonton, fly out and join us. You can come to the CFL game on Saturday. It'll be great. You can join us at BP's in downtown Winnipeg as well. It's gonna be a good time. We got our Circa picks that we're gonna get to with Chris Abbott. Those got to be in by mid Saturday morning. So we'll go over that as well. It's a very exciting time of year for us on the Lock Shop and anybody who's betting on sports. This is it. The NFL betting is the holy grail of sports betting, and we get it for the next 4.5 months, buddy. I love it.
You know what? It's funny. I mean, we started this right at the beginning of 2001, and, you know, we were in the midst of a pandemic. The NFL was playing, but we kind of got through those playoff games and then had a lot of fun doing a lot of other things, the wide world of wagering and baseball, tennis, and soccer, all the things we're going to get to. But there is the king, the granddaddy, if you will, of the sports betting scene. That's NFL football.
We never had a full slate. We've never had a full slate to bet on.
This is going to be, and it's perfect that we're doing our first live show with this to discuss, because this is sort of the reason why we originally wanted to do this program. We've got to the finish line. NFL season's here. And hell, before we get to NFL, we've got some great CFL action coming up with some rematches. And by the way, I know you've been hearing this a lot lately, but a hell of a job on the tube. A little doubleheader action for you last week. And, man, you got a couple great games, a couple great atmospheres too, Dusty. I mean, Mosaic Stadium, Bombers, Riders, Labor Day Classic, there's nothing like it. And then a pretty excellent Battle of Alberta as well. You've been lucking out with some of the assignments so far this year, my friend.
Buddy, it's this past weekend, doing the 2 Labor Day games. I don't want to miss them anymore. Like, I loved being there for those 2 games. I'm so fired up to come do the Banjo Bowl. I mean, I'd be fine staying here doing the Elks-Calgary rematch as well, doing both games last week, but it's a triple header on Saturday. So I'm going to go out and call the Banjo Bowl, and I can't wait to see what the scene is in Winnipeg after seeing what it was in Regina as well. So, and we're going to get to those guys. But, I mean, the games, I don't think there's a bigger, I think I said this on my show this morning, I don't think there's a bigger advantage for anybody in the league at any position than the Bombers have with Jeff Coat and Jefferson. Maybe I said that I wasn't on your show. I mean, buddy, I'm losing track. I thought today was Monday when I went on my show, so it's Wednesday. But Jeff Coat and Jefferson at the 2 end spots on that D-line for the Bombers, I think, is the biggest thing that any team in this league has going for them, because those 2 guys are a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks.
Well, you know how it goes, dude. I mean, it's a quarterback's league, right? And it's all about offense. And, the team with the best quarterback usually wins. Well, if your quarterback's running for his life for 60 minutes, it's hard for him to play at his top level. And we saw that with Cody Fajardo. I mean, 3 picks. He was terrorized from the first series of downs until the final buzzer. And it was a reality check for Saskatchewan. And Willie Jefferson said going in, he goes, well, we'll see what they're made of. I mean, who have they played so far? I mean, they beat BC in the first weird week 1 game where they almost blew at a 31-0 lead. They played a depleted Hamilton team and they beat Ottawa. And, it's easy to just look at the record. But I think there was a lot more to that game. And to be honest, but I mean, as good as the Bombers looked in the game on the weekend, I expect much more from the Saskatchewan Roughriders coming into Winnipeg on Saturday afternoon. So I think we're going to be in for another really interesting game. I can guarantee you, I don't know what's going to happen on the field, but I do know that the stands are going to be packed and it will be the best atmosphere of the season. Although this year it'll be tough to beat week 1 because, of course, it was the CFL kickoff after missing a season. So that was a real special game. But you saw it in person last week. There's nothing like it when the Bombers and Riders get together on Labor Day weekend or in the rematch. And you're going to be front and center for it. And I know a lot of folks will be coming in repping the green. So it's what the Canadian Football League is all about. As great as the Labor Day weekend is, I got to tell you, the way they've scheduled it with a triple header on Saturday heading into NFL football, they figured it out. They've got it. Let's not conflict. Let's dominate Saturday for 3-down football, and then let's enjoy our fantasy teams and hopefully some winning bets on Sunday afternoon. We'll get to those bets on Friday's edition of the Lock Shop.
Yes, we definitely will. We're going to hit on the Thursday nighter. That's coming up. We're going to get some U.S. Open picks. Huss has some World Cup qualifying he's going to get to. We're going to talk some Blue Jays on this episode of the Lock Shop. And I've got, if you can believe it, 4 Formula One bets for you this weekend. So we'll dive into that as well. All right, but let's start with week 6 in the Canadian Football League, where we both sit 5-5 through the first 5 weeks after slow starts. I was 0-4 at one point, and you mentioned Riders and Bombers, and we're going to be in Winnipeg for this game. So let's start there, Huss. What are you liking in that one?
Well, you know what? I mean, as I said, I think that this game, first of all, I was stunned that the number was not bigger when it opened. We saw it open at 3 on Coolbet. It's still sitting at 3 right now. And in some ways, this seems like some sort of a trap. I mean, the Bombers just won by 15 in a thoroughly dominating performance on the road. Certainly, I mean, if there was ever a time in the Canadian Football League season where home field really does matter, I would argue it's these 2 weekends, especially between these 2 teams. So I'm still a little skeptical about why this number isn't 4 or 5. Hell, the Riders closed. It got up to 6 last week, and it closed at 5 or 5.5. So it still is. But I mean, I think the bookies are also saying, much like I'm saying, I'm expecting more from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But I look at the total at 40.5, and I realized that it was 23-8 in the game on the weekend, and that's not even close to 40.5. But that number is so low. I'm expecting more from Cody Fajardo. I think that, Jason Moss is going to, find a way to get the football in a few more of their playmakers' hands. And to be honest, I think from a Bomber perspective, I think Zach Caleros has more to give. I think the receivers really stepped up, made some amazing catches after a bit of a case of the dropsies the week before against Calgary, and a running game that is going. So, I mean, as good as the Bomber defense was, holding them to single digits again would be, frankly, incredible.
That would be pretty incredible.
They've done it 3 times in 5 games so far. I mean, they've given up 13 points through 2 games. And then, of course, there was the, 8 points on the road to Saskatchewan. So, I don't know. We've talked about this before. We're waiting for these offenses to wake up. I think having the familiarity of the team that you just played, the adjustments that the offenses will be able to make, I think we'll get a little bit more scoring. So I think this will be a close game, but I think both teams can get to 20 points. So I'm going to take the over 40.5. And it's funny, when you see a 40.5 in a CFL game, you just assume it's going to be going up. And we have seen that, but yet, some of the scoring has still been down. Although when you look back to last week, the Elks certainly woke up. Montreal woke up. So I think we'll see these numbers gradually grow. It's just, this is a number that is respecting of what the Bomber defense has done so far this year. The other thing is that, we've seen before in the Banjo Bowl, we've seen defensive scores and special team scores. So to me, it's a matter of time before we get a little bit more of a normal Canadian Football League score. So I'm going to take Bombers Riders over 40.5. The other pick, we're going to go to Ottawa at BC. And if there's one thing that has been profitable so far this season, it's been fading the Ottawa Red Blacks, with the exception of that miracle win in week number 1. The Lions coming off the bye. Ottawa still wondering who their quarterback is going to be. Dominic Davis has been taking first-team reps this year. They just simply do not have the personnel right now. This is a big game for BC to bounce back. Great opportunity for them to do it in front of their home fans after sitting out the Labor Day weekend. So I know this opened at 6.5. It's 7 right now. I'm going to get on BC now at 7 because I have a feeling this number, because of what we've seen and what we haven't seen from Ottawa, probably creep up above that touchdown. So I'll lay the touchdown. Don't normally like to do it, but in this case, hard to go wrong going against Ottawa from what we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with a total and a side as well. Starting with the over in the Stamps Elks game. It sits at 42.5 right now on CoolBet. It was at 41.5 last night. I'm not sure if it opened at 41.5 or it opened at 41 or 40.5, but it was at 41.5 last night. It's at 42.5 now, so it has moved a little bit. People are going to be on the over in this one. Trevor Harris went down to Calgary and threw for 398 yards and 4 touchdowns last week on the road against a team that he'd never beaten in his career. And a Calgary team, it's weird. And I had Naylor on my show this morning, and I think we both agreed on this. Calgary is better than 1-4. I honestly believe they are. Jake Mayer has thrown for 300 yards in 3 consecutive games. I would probably suggest it's likely that Bo Levi Mitchell is back for this game on Saturday. And even if he's not, Mayer has been able to move the offense. He suffered a few pretty significant drops in that last game. I would be shocked if this game is not over 41.5 points. I don't think Calgary's defense is going to be able to. Now, is Trevor Harris going to throw for 400 yards again? Probably not 400 yards again, but can he throw for 3 touchdowns again in this football game? I think there's a very good chance that that could happen. And Calgary's offense last week, I think, deserved better than what it ended up getting. So I think they'll come up the road here and bounce back offensively as well. So I don't want to go aside on this one either way because I'm not too sure how it's going to play out, but I am pretty confident that points are going to be scored in this game. So I love it at over 41.5, Huss.
This is a fascinating game. And I'll tell you what, considering what the Elks did last week in Calgary, this is another sort of a weird line. I mean, 1.5 point favorites at home. I believe it opened at 1. And, Calgary's 1-4, and I'm with you. I think they are a better team than 1-4, but you are what your record is. And I'll tell you what, their record is 1-5 if they lose this game, and they'll have lost the season series to the Elks, and they'll be significantly behind both the Bombers and Riders. It's hard to believe, and I was talking with the guys doing the show in Calgary yesterday afternoon. It's hard to imagine we're into week 6 of a 14-game season. And, I know our industry is prone to hyperbole and hot takes, but this is as close to a must-win game at this point of the season for the Calgary Stampeders as they probably had in 15 years. They're in a world of hurt and a terrible situation if they lose this game. So I think that you'll see a sense of urgency in a team that's done a lot of winning over the past decade when they go out, and that's why I'm fascinated to see what this happens. And I'm sort of with you too. I think it might be safer taking the side than it is, the total than it is on the side, because I really do think we'll see more from Calgary. And hey, that was a close game into the 4th quarter. Credit to the Elks for getting it done. Probably some uncomfortable secondary meetings in Calgary after what happened on the weekend, but it should be a heck of a game. But this is as close to must win for Calgary as you can have, not even a halfway into the season.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go to the other game. We'll get all 4 games covered this weekend in the Canadian Football League, and that'll be the Friday night game between the Ticats and Argos. I'm going to get on the Ticats here, -3.5. We love the Ticats coming into the year. I think most people did. If you want to play it safe, you can go money line. It's sit at -172, but I decided to play the total at -3.5 on the road against Toronto in the rematch of that game, which was getting nasty. There's no doubt about it. It's good. I love seeing these rivalries in the Canadian Football League. But I think with Evans starting to hit his stride a little bit, their defense got healthy now. They've got some of their bigger pieces back on defense. I think this is kind of who we were expecting the Ticats to be. Now, the Argos are better than we thought they were going to be, and they might keep this one close, but I'm going to go with the Ticats to make it back-to-back here in that Labor Day rematch and cover the 3.5 points.
The Argos talk a lot of shit, Dusty.
I know.
They talk so much. I mean, they were talking to Bombers when they were coming out of the tunnel at the game in Toronto. And let's face it, they took one in the mouth on the weekend. I would expect a bounce back from Toronto, but I think Hamilton realizes that they don't have really much wiggle room to let up. I mean, they started off 0-2. They've had a couple wins now. They're really seemingly hitting their stride right now, and they'll be motivated to stick it to their provincial rivals, get the sweep, and put themselves back in control of the Eastern Division after that start that not a lot of people saw coming at 0-2.
All right, so there's our picks for week 6 in the Canadian Football League. Remember, we will be live on Friday night in Winnipeg with a live installment of The Lock Shop talking a lot of NFL. One thing we're going to have to do in that episode is agree on our NFL picks for that circuit contest, because today with Thursday Night Football, we're going opposite ways. I'm taking the Bucks to roll. You're taking the Cowboys to cover. I love it. Night 1, Thursday Night Football. Huss, give me your explanation. And it's a big number. I mean, 8.5 is a big number, but why do you like the Cowboys to cover?
I mean, listen, we have to pick this game. If we were putting the picks in for the circuit contest and this was an option, I'd be staying far, far away from this game. It's not on it. But it's the first game of the year. Like, we're not going to pick it and talk about it here on the program. History will tell you that the Super Bowl champion often dominates this game. Listen, that could absolutely happen. But to me, if the team like Dallas, with the amount of offense that they bring to the table, is getting 8.5 points on the road against anybody, you take it. Listen, I'm looking forward to seeing what Dak Prescott can do. I think a healthy Zeke Elliott's going to be big. And let's talk about the weapons that Dallas has. I mean, God knows you've been talking about it when we were discussing fantasy football for the last month. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, even Blake Jarwin, Gallup. I mean, they have a lot of players. And Dak Prescott was on track for about 7,000 yards or something like that last year.
Way too good to be true.
Yeah, it was insane. And of course, it ended in misery for the Cowboys. We know when he was knocked out for the year. He's back. He's got paid. It's time for the Dallas Cowboys to step up. I mean, I'm fading them for the season. I don't really think they win this game. But I just think they've got enough offensive firepower that they're not going to get blown out by double digits. So now with this number at 8.5, I mean, I would have taken it at 7.5. I love the fact that we're getting an extra point. I'm taking the points with the Cowboys. And here's the other thing, too. This could easily be a 17-point game in the fourth quarter. Or say a 14-point game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And you get a little bit of garbage time. I mean, the back door will be wide open in the fourth quarter. The Bucks, I mean, they're champs. They just are looking to win the football game. And especially if they do have it, maybe they control the football. They don't get it back to Dallas. I just don't see the Bucks completely running away with this game. And even if they do, Dallas has enough offense that they can make at least their fantasy owners happy with a little bit of fourth quarter love and a backdoor cover. So given the options between the two, give me the Cowboys and the points. Now you tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, let me start by saying this. I'll take the L if CeeDee Lamb goes off for 3 touchdowns and 150 yards, because I got CeeDee Lamb in like 80% of my fantasy leagues. Probably my favorite wide receiver in the league this year. But on the Bucs side of things, I mean, the Bucs have done something that nobody else does. And they've returned every single member of their Super Bowl champion team, which is insane to think. This entire defense, which is, and you will remember this. Yeah, it doesn't
all
happen.
22 starters.
Everybody 22. Back. Everybody, both sides of the ball. And I know the Tom Brady's a great story. In fact, drafted Tom Brady for the first time in a fantasy draft last night. Avoided him all year. Decided yesterday, I'm going to ride with Tom Brady, at least in one league. But last year in the Super Bowl, there's lots to talk about Brady. But the Bucs defense did a number on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bucs defense is the reason they won a title last year, and they're bringing back the entire group, and they'll be going up against Dak Prescott and this Cowboys offense, which I do think by some point in the season will hit its stride and light the world on fire offensively, even if it's for like a 4 to 6 week stretch. But Dak didn't get much work in training camp and the preseason. He's coming off a very significant injury, and he's going up against the Super Bowl defending champions with their entire defense back. So, and Tom Brady could throw for 50 touchdown passes this year. I mean, he's got Antonio Brown there full time. He's got Mike Evans. He's got Godwin. He's got Gronk. I still like O.J. Howard. He's brought in Giovanni Bernard to be the James White, which they didn't have. They just kind of rotated between Jones and Fournette. So you got those two guys. Now you add in Giovanni Bernard. That's another weapon offensively. I just think that things are lining up nicely here for the Bucs to come out and send a statement Thursday night to the rest of the league that, hey, we're still the champs. And I'm not going to blame the Cowboys if they do get beat by double digits, because they're just getting Dak Prescott back up to speed. So you scared me a bit with the backdoor cover, because I think this will be a situation where the Bucs are up by 12 to 14 in the fourth quarter. And then, I'll cross my fingers and hope they hang on, because they would deserve a double-digit win at that point. But returning everybody and having Tom Brady at the helm and coming out with an opportunity to be like, hey, check out, we're the champs. We got everybody back. Good luck this year. I think they take advantage of that. So it's a big number. And you're right. I agree with you. If we're picking circa, we don't love this game near enough to go anywhere near it. But I'll go with the Bucs minus 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, you refer to this Super Bowl win. To be honest, I can't remember that. I'm not familiar with the game that you're speaking of in February. But I will say I do know that they do have everyone back from last season's team, and they were really good. But they're also, I mean, think of where that team was in Week 9 last year. I mean, do we really expect them to just show up and be the same team that sort of grew into that Super Bowl team? I think like any team, they'll still be a bit of a work in progress. And I'm not sure they'll come right out of the gate looking to blow teams out. Very probable that this could be a 10-point game. As I said, I think we're going to be in the mix. I'm not looking at the Dallas Cowboys at plus 295 on the money line. But I'll tell you what, I am giving a good thought to the over 51.5, because I mean, I don't think the Cowboys defense has improved that much. I know Tom Brady's going to want to get out to a great start, spread the ball around, and, get some fantasy points for all of his players' teams as well as his own. It is just a matter of, can the Dallas Cowboys, can this offense come out and put up 24 points and keep this one tight? So either way, bring it on. Game number 1 tomorrow night. And then it's just a little an appetizer, a wet of the whistle before a great day of CFL football and college football on Saturday, and then the main event, a full slate for Week 1. Great games, too, coming up on Sunday.
That is exciting. It is very exciting. Friday night, join us in Winnipeg. We'll be live, and that'll be a NFL show getting ready for Week 1 in the National Football League. And let us know. Hit us up at Lock Shop Bets on Twitter. Let us know what you like this week as well. Let's get into some non-football fun, as I have labeled it. I've got some Formula One. You've got the U.S. Open. You got the CONCACAF qualifiers and some Major League Baseball. Huss, you got 3 options there. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start out. And you know what? First off, unfortunate. We were going to do this program yesterday, and I had a whole whackload of tennis bets, including Leylah Fernandez at plus 240 money line, which came through. So that has actually put me in a great spot.
Chalk it up as a win. Chalk it up as a win.
No doubt. It was, I mean, man, I could talk about her for an hour. I mean, this has been so much fun watching this run. And listen, I didn't get honor in the Osaka match, but the last couple have been very profitable, and we'll see what she can do against Sabalenka. But the one match that I like today, and this is a spread match, is the South African Lloyd Harris going up against Sacha Zverev. Harris is getting 6.5 games. And, I watched him beat Denis Shapovalov in straight sets. And this young guy is playing at a really, really high level. And I mean, Shapo himself was the 7th seed. So to do away with Chapo in straight sets the way that he did, he's ready to go up against these top guys. And I think it's the fact that he is unseeded. And, Zverev's been a top player for a number of years. And, people see the seeds and think, oh, this one's not going to be close. I think it will be close. I'm not ready to jump on him to actually win the match. But considering the fact that I think that he'll get a set, and, if otherwise his serve's been so dominant, I could see a bunch of tiebreakers. So the fact of the matter is, unless he's getting broken often and early by Zverev, I think this has a real good number to cash. So I'm going to take Harris plus 6.5 against Zverev in this quarterfinal that's coming up a little later on today. Now, originally, I was going to hammer Canada on the line, try and get a couple goals against El Salvador. And then I found out that Alphonso Davies is out. Good news, though, the report today coming out of Germany, not serious, but he won't be in the lineup tomorrow. And listen, against the United States, that might have been worse. Canada is still a favorite against El Salvador. Kyle Laren's been scoring. Maybe it's time for Jonathan David, the other star of Canada, to step up and get a goal. But I don't feel comfortable, laying a goal and needing them to win by 2. So I'm going to go with the under 0.5 goals for El Salvador. And El Salvador's got 2 games so far in this tournament, and they have yet to score. So Canada's given up a goal in both matches, but I do think that Canada will focus on being tight defensively and generating that goal however they can get it without Alphonso Davies. So the El Salvadorians have not scored yet. We'll look for Canada to continue that, and we can get minus 132 on El Salvador, under 0.5 goals. Essentially, we're betting on a clean sheet for the Canadians in regulation. Even a 0-0 tie would cash that bet. That's not the way I want it to go, but just seemed like better value there than getting one of the numbers or just betting Canada to win, which is closer to minus 300 right now. So clean sheet for Canada. El Salvador under 0.5 at minus 132. And I know you want to talk about this, your boys, the Blue Jays, are on fire right now.
Here they come.
Beaten Garrett Cole last night. And to me, this all goes back to Friday night. Now, hands up, Jays fans, who turned the TV off or switched the channel when it was 8-2 going into the 8th inning? Or did you even make it that long? I think there was a lot of people that left. I did. And the funny thing was that was the exact point where I flipped over to TSN and started watching Leilani Fernandez go at it with Naomi Osaka and completely was locked into that and had no idea what was going on. Heard about the Jays, went back, watched it. Absolute storybook comeback, and the sort of a comeback that I think can really get a team going. And it obviously has, Dusty. They swept the A's. They've now made it 6 in a row of the opportunity to do the same thing to the Yankees, one of the teams that they're chasing. Oh, and meanwhile, half of the Boston Red Sox roster has COVID. So they're dealing with it's all coming up Jays right now. This is a big, big opportunity for them to really stick it to the Yankees. They've got the rookie Alek Manoah on the hill. He has been phenomenal on just about all of his starts this year. And going up Gil, who, just has one decision so far this season. So with the momentum the Jays have, and we talked last week about how nothing was going, they couldn't hit, everything is going out of the park right now. Marcus Semien, and again, we go back to his shot to make it that 11-10 walk-off win on Friday, and he has not looked back. 38 last night? And even our boy Alejandro with a 2-jacket night last night. Listen, the Jays are so much fun to watch right now. We said this team just needs to get something pushing them in the right direction. That happened on Friday. They're a locomotive right now. So all aboard the Jays wagon, plus money on the money line right now to make it 7 in a row with Manoah on the hill. Sign me up for the Blue Jays on the money line tonight.
I like that one a lot. And this is with limited Springer here over the last little while as well. If you get him back in there down the stretch here, could be really, really good. So, it's crazy because with the way they've been playing, I thought they needed like 9 or 10 in a row to get back in, or 11 of 12 or something like that. But they've got, as you laid it out, they've got some help along the way. And all of a sudden, 6 wins in a row has them within striking distance here with some games in hand still. So it's it's a really fun time to be a Blue Jays fan. No doubt about that. I haven't had a chance to say that in September for a few years now. Huss, I know you're probably not getting up on Sunday morning to watch the Italian Grand Prix before 12 hours of National Football League action. But if you are, you might as well wager on it. So I've got a few for you. And I know it's Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen thing. Let's go with Lewis Hamilton. He's won in Italy 5 times. Hasn't won in a couple of years, but he's won 5 times. And this is a track that seems to favor Mercedes. Even Christian Horner, who runs Red Bull, was saying, Mercedes is really built for this track. We're mostly just going to try to not almost play it safe, essentially, is what he said. So when it's always so close between Verstappen and Hamilton, it seems like Red Bull's going to save their juice for a few races after these next two. So Hamilton minus 133 to win it. His teammate, Valtteri Bottas, minus 111 to finish in the top 3. So you'll see 2 Mercedes on the podium this week, probably with Verstappen wedged in between them. Maybe it's a 1-2 finish, but Verstappen will probably be in there. So I was thinking it'll be Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Pierre Gasly, who won, I think, on this course in 2019, read an article after this past week where they were telling him to slow down because he was driving so bloody fast. He was driving too hard on the car. So he's moving well right now. Plus 150 finish in the top 6. And then George Russell, who was just announced to go join Mercedes next year and be on the same team with Lewis Hamilton. He's a great driver. Let's start there. But I'm wondering if there's a little extra bump here this week for George Russell. So I like him at plus 200 into the top 10. So Hamilton to win it. Bottas top 3, Gasly top 6, George Russell plus 200. And I think for the first time ever in Lock Shop history, I just gave out 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Formula 1 picks.
Where are we at in the season right now? And is it who's up, Verstappen or Hamilton in the season long?
It is Verstappen. Just a sec. Let me bring it up because Verstappen got the big win. I think he might be, it's like 2 or 3 points separating them right now. It's super tight right now. Let me get it for you. Yeah. Okay. Verstappen's up by 3 points, 224.5 to 221.5. He's got 7 wins. Hamilton's got 4 right now. So it's tight, but even Red Bull seems to be like, anything we can get at the Italian Grand Prix would be great because Monza is known as a Mercedes track, which I don't understand for the life of me why it is that way, but that's the way it is. So I think Hamilton at minus 133 at Coolbet was probably the play here.
That's you're going to be getting up, getting the sleep out of your eyes, watching this, and then we'll grab you, watch some of that first game, and then get you on a plane back to the family for the night game.
Yeah, I'm going to be in great shape when I get home on Sunday night. I'll be
get ready to get mauled by kids.
I know. Well, it'll be fun. It'll all be worth it. It's going to be a great weekend in Winnipeg. Live Lock Shop. We're going to get to the Banjo Bowl, obviously, and we're going to be watching some NFL together on Sunday as well. And like I said, Formula 1, Italian Grand Prix, 3rd race in 3 weeks, and then we'll get a little bit of a break. So that'll be fun on a Sunday morning. Huss, what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk, buddy?
Well, we're going to talk some tennis. I can't stop talking about this tennis, and what a day it was yesterday with the Leilani Fernandez moving on to the semifinals and Felix Auger-Aliassime booking his ticket to the finals. So John Horn's going to join us. We will. There's so much football going on this week. We figured midweek we'd squeeze in some hockey talk. So our pal Dave McCarthy from NHL.com and SiriusXM NHL Radio is going to come by. We'll talk a little Ryder Cup. That team has been made. A little bit on the soccer tonight. Lots to get to, and of course, the latest from Bomber practice as they get ready to host the Riders in the Banjo Bowl, which you will be calling. And yeah, folks, if you just popped in a little bit late, Friday night, 7 p.m., Boston Pizza City Place, downtown Winnipeg. Myself, Dusty, Chris Abbott will get the band together for the first time, all in one place. We'll bang out the live lock shop. We'll secure our circa picks for week 1 of the big contest, make our selections, and hoist a few, have some wings and pizza, and that should be a great time. So yeah, if you're in Winnipeg in the area, come on out, hang out with us 7 o'clock on Friday night. And then, of course, Chris and I will be in the stands, and you'll be up in the booth watching one of the great games of the Canadian Football League regular season and what should be a beautiful day and an awesome atmosphere here in the Peg.
just shy of 1 million watching the game on Labor Day Sunday. So I would think it's going to be a pretty massive number for the rematch in Winnipeg as well. So I'll definitely try to sneak in 3 plugs for the Lock Shop at some point in that broadcast. Oh, what a catch. You know where they love that? On the Lock Shop. Subscribe today on all your podcasting platforms.
That would be great.
That would be great.
See what you can do. See what you can do.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode brought to you by our friends at Coolbet. We'll all be together on Friday. Watch us Friday evening for the live installment of the Lock Shop to get you ready for week 1 in the National Football League. Huss, enjoy that Thursday night, everybody. We will break it down on Friday.
Right back at you, buddy. See you in Winnipeg.